Hello everyone, I Alka Batra, Faculty MCA Department of Technia Institute of Advanced Studies. Today I am going to deliver a lecture on C# programming. But before knowing C#, we should know what is .NET because C# is a part of .NET. And before starting .NET, we should know what are tier architecture because in web programming or in C# programming, tier architecture is a very important part. Tier, what is tier? Tier can be defined as one of two or more rows, levels or ranks arranged one above another. There are different levels of tier architecture. First is one tier architecture in which you can say that everything is included in a single machine, you can say in a single personal computer. That means when you are running an application, all the components required for executing an application are located on that particular single computer. Whether it is a user interface or a business logic or a data storage, all are located on the same machine. Next is two-tier architecture. Two-tier architecture is a basic web model in which a browser makes a request from a web server, which then processes the request and returns the desired response. In this case, the desired response is web pages. This approach improves scalability and divides the user interface from the data layers. However, it does not divide application layer so that they can be utilized separately. The entire application must be updated because layers aren't separated. Next is three-tier architecture, which is most commonly used to build web applications. In this model, the browser acts like a client, middleware or an application server that contains business logic, database servers and handle data functions. This approach separates business logic from display and data. So the three layers commonly known as presentation layer, business logic layer and data access layer. Next is multi-tier architecture. It is also known as n-tier architecture. It is a client-server architecture in which presentation, application processing and data management functions are logically separated. For example, an application that uses middleware to service data requests between a user and a database employs multi-tier architecture. Most of the widespread use of multi-tier architecture is three-tier architecture. A three-tier architecture is typically composed of presentation tier, business or data access tier and a data tier. Now what is .NET? In this section, we know about .NET, we know about .NET framework and its functions, we know about MSIL, CTS, CLS, CLR, all those which are the basic functionality of .NET, what is assembly, what are the different type of assemblies and all that. Microsoft .NET is a software component that runs on the Windows operating system. .NET provides tools and libraries that enable developers to create Windows and web software much faster and easier way. .NET benefits end users by providing applications of higher capability, quality and security. Now, the whole .NET is based on its architecture that is known as .NET architecture. This .NET architecture consists of four major components. One is Common Language Specification, in short known as CLS. Second is Framework Class Library, known as FCL. Third is Common Language Runtime, known as CLR. And other than that, all the .NET tools. Now you can see the diagram of .NET framework in which we can check the various levels that are used in .NET framework when we are working on a particular application. The lowermost level is your operating system, which is actually interacting with the machine. But the basic level of .NET framework is CLR, that is Common Language Runtime. Above that, there is Base Class Library. Above that, your database, that is ADO.NET or XML. And above that, the applications which you are creating, that can either be a web application, it can be a web form or a web service or mobile internet toolkit, or you can create Windows form. Before that, there is another layer which is known as CLS, and then Above that, the topmost layer is your different languages that are included in .NET. Now, we will know step by step about all the levels of your .NET framework. The base level is CLR, as I told you. The CLR is the engine that manages the execution of the code. It is a runtime execution environment. It creates managed code. But before creating managed code, it creates an intermediate level code or intermediate code that is known as IL. That intermediate code provides benefits like platform independence, performance improvement, and language interoperability. Now next is the services provided by CLR. CLR provide number of services in which first is your loading and execution of programs. Loading and execution of program means when our source program will load into the compiler and get executed. Second is memory isolation for applications. Memory isolation of applications means every application, whether it is a web application or it is a window application, it requires a separate amount of memory which is required to execute an application. So all the applications in CLR should be categorized as per their memory requirement. Next is verification of type safety. Next is compilation of IL into native executable code. In this, the word native executable code means converting the intermediate language code into their actually used language, whether it is a C# or it is ASP or it is Java. Next is providing metadata, then memory management. Memory management is one of the major part of .NET. You can say that in previous languages there is no automatic memory management process. We have to construct, we have to allocate the memory, and then we have to deallocate the memory specifically. But in case of .NET, there is automatic memory management process is provided, which is known as automatic garbage collection. This automatic garbage collection means whenever the memory required by the variables that are allocated in a program that is not right now required, the .NET program will automatically deallocate all the memory. That is known as automatic garbage collection. Next is enforcement of security. Then interoperability with other systems. Interoperability with other systems means interchanging of one program from written in one language to another language. And the last is managing exceptions and errors. The next layer is .NET framework base classes. In C and C++, we can say that there is a library, there is a predefined library from which we are using various functions that we can use in our programs. In the same way, in .NET or in C# or in other languages which are included in .NET, there are framework based classes. These classes contain all the various subclasses and all the various events, functions that are required to work in that particular class. So the .NET provide predefined base classes. This layer actually contains classes, value types, interfaces that are required for the development process. Most notably within the .NET framework based classes in ADO.NET, which provides access to and management of data. The third layer of framework is ASP.NET and Windows Form. The second part of top layer of .NET framework is the Windows Form section. This is where we can build the traditional executable applications that we can build with Visual Basic 6.0 in the past. Other than this, there are several other components which are the major part of .NET framework. This is CLI, that is Common Language Infrastructure. It is an open specification that describes the executable code and the runtime environment. The specification defines an environment that allows multiple high-level languages to be used on different computer platforms without being rewritten for specific architectures. Next is Common Type System. In Microsoft .NET Framework, the Common Type System is a standard that specifies how type definitions and specific values of types are represented in computer memory. It is intended to allow programs written in different programming languages to easily share information between various programming languages. Next is Common Language Specification. The Common Language Specification is a set of basic language features that .NET languages needed to develop applications and services. These are compatible with the .NET framework. It defines a set of rules that enables interoperability on the .NET platform. Interoperability means conversion of a program written in one language to another language without making any much effort. The CLS is a subset of CTS, and therefore the languages supporting the CLS can use each other's class library if they are their own. Now another important part of .NET framework or you can say .NET application is assembly. Assembly is actually what assembly is. Assembly is actually the common language infrastructure. It is a compiled code library used for deployment, versioning and security. An assembly can consist of one or more files. These code files are called modules. An assembly can contain more than one code module, and since it is possible to use different languages to create code modules, it is technically possible to use several different languages to create an assembly. An assembly is of two types. One is your single and another is multi. But we can further categorize assemblies as private assembly and public or shared assembly. Private assembly is what? A private assembly is used only for a particular application. It is stored in the application's directory, otherwise in the application's subdirectory. There is no version of that private assembly. Most probably we can create another version if required, but most probably there is no version of private assembly. In public assembly, there is a version constraint. Public assembly is stored inside the global assembly cache, in short known as GAC. GAC contains a collection of shared assemblies. Shared assembly means when we are using assemblies for different applications, when we are using single assembly for different applications. They are intended to be common libraries that any other application can use. Another important part that is created during IL code is metadata. What is metadata? We have already known that in DBMS we study metadata is data about data. So what is here data about data? Metadata is actually a binary information that describes your program that is stored either in a CLR portable executable file or in memory. When we compile our code into portable executable form, metadata is inserted into one portion of the file while your code is converted to MSIL and inserted into another portion of the file. Every type and member defined and referenced in a module or assembly is described within metadata. Metadata describe every type and member defined in your code in a language neutral manner. Language neutral manner means it doesn't matter whether we are making our program in C# or in VB.NET or in G#. Metadata stores what kind of information? It can store the description of assembly and description of types. Description of assembly means the identity of assembly, its name, its version, its culture, its public key. The types that are exported, other assemblies that might be dependent on that particular assembly, and the security permissions needed to execute that particular application. Description of type means name, visibility, base classes, interfaces, members used in that particular program. Members like methods, fields, properties, events, attributes, and other additional elements that are required by assembly language. There are namespaces which are created in almost every language in .NET. What are these namespaces? Namespaces are the way of .NET that avoid name clashes between classes. It provides a way to organize related classes and other types. A namespace is logical rather than a physical grouping. It is no more than a grouping of data types. We can club different types of data under different namespaces. All .NET based classes are in a namespace called system. You can easily identify, you can easily check that whether that your namespace is just like similar to your directories that we are created in on our basic systems to segregate our files. In a similar manner, in .NET, namespaces are created to segregate different base classes into different categories. If a namespace is not explicitly supplied, the type will be added to a nameless global namespace. Now, after knowing all the basics of .NET, now we can go through what is C#. C# is actually a fully object-oriented language. What does fully object-oriented means? Before C#, we study C++, which is also known as object-oriented language. In object-oriented language, we basically focus on three basic rules. That is your inheritance, polymorphism, where any language that follow these basic object-oriented rules are known as object-oriented languages. But in C++, it is not necessary that we have to work with classes and objects. But in C#, it is necessary that everything should be in the form of classes, everything should be in the form of objects. That is why we are saying that C# is a fully object-oriented language which is simple, efficient, productive and type safe than C and C++. The basic characteristics of C# are simple, it's consistent, it's modern, it's type safe, versionable, compatible, interoperable and flexible. So I hope this lecture will enhance your knowledge about .NET and about C#. In my next lecture, I will elaborate more on this C#. I will tell you about all the concepts that are explicitly included in C#, which are not available in C++. Thank you.